Tonight, we will give you the results from the election here in Pullman and around the country.
And future trips to Cuba will come with some travel changes.
And the smog in India has reached dangerous levels. Murrow News 8 starts now.
From Studio B on the campus of Washington State University, this is Pullman's only nightly newscast. This is Murrow News 8.
Good evening, I'm Brittany McIntosh.
And I'm Derek Baker. Welcome to Murrow News 8. Residents in the city of Moscow voted overwhelmingly to keep their current mayor, Bill Lambert, in office for a second term. Lambert defeated his opponent, former city councilwoman Linda Paul, by more than 20%. Lambert, who is a former city councilman himself, continued to focus his campaign on Moscow's growing infrastructure and encouraging small businesses to open. Moscow Mayor Bill Lambert said he's excited to see two new faces in City Council in January. Those two new faces will be Ann Zabala and Brandy Sullivan, who will replace experienced City Councilors John Weber and Walter Steed. The women are excited to add improvements to the city of Moscow to make it a safer and more vibrant town.
The Pullman School Board will also be getting new members, as Amanda Tanner and Nathan Roberts beat out longtime incumbents. Robert defeated Carl Johansson, receiving 53% of voters, while Tanner defeated Dean Kinzer, who received 55% of the vote. Tanner and Roberts say that they're ready for the challenge, but they've recognized they need some catching up to do. The Pullman Bonds will not have enough ballots returned for the vote to count, despite having majority of voters in favor. The $10.5 million bond would have gone towards relocating City Hall, constructing a new event center, and acquiring a third fire station. The second one was a proposed $2.4 million replacement bond to repair and upgrade city parks and paths.
Full-time students will pay $548 each in fees after the Associated Students of Washington State University released the 2017 through 2018 service and activities fee allocations. S&A fees are a part of payments outside of tuition that are charged to all students. The fees go towards funding non-academic activities on campus to enrich student experiences. While students may not be looking forward to paying the new fees, WSU recently announced budget cuts, resulting in the elimination of an entire program. Reporters Ian McShay spoke with those affected by these cuts.
WSU theaters will soon be a lot emptier, as President Kirk Scholes announced the performing arts program will lose funding after spring of 2018. The budget cut will end the program, which was created 7 years ago by late President Elson S. Floyd. The decision caught many off guard, as they were warned 4 hours before the school announced the cuts. The decision means that performances, like the ones advertised here behind me, will cease to be offered to WSU students, faculty, and community members after next May. While the shows already planned will continue as scheduled, some have already made their feelings heard.
They're devastated. I don't know if you've ever done any theater, but when you join the theater, you're joining a family, and a lot of these students have come to WSU and found their niche and found like they had a home and a place that understood them.
The administration sees the budget cuts as a necessary evil to combat the school's deficit, and the performing arts program has cost the school $1.6 million.
So the vice president for that unit took a look at her budget and said, you know, these are 4 positions, or this is a program that has never been permanently funded in its 7-year history. It's always been paid for out of that savings account.
However, WSU Performing Arts says that they were not a financial burden on the school.
The idea that we were not programmatically self-sufficient, that implication was insulting to us.
The cuts are supposed to result in a 7.5% decrease in spending a year. Ian Smay, Murrow News 8.
During an emergency on college campuses, time is everything. In the instance of Halloween shooting on Duncan Lane, an emergency alert text was sent out, but it came over an hour after the attack happened. WSU students expressed concern over the extent time it took to be notified by the WSU emergency response system.
President of my sorority, like it being like me knowing like sooner could have like helped me, like, if it was an on-campus shooting or something closer to Greek Row, like, it could have helped me, like, potentially, like, save my sisters or, like, the people that I'm in charge.
Pullman police first responded to the attack because it didn't happen on college campus. So the emergency response team had to wait to get approval from police before sending out the alert. Communication between the Pullman Police Department and WCU Police Department is key in making an alert system work effectively and keeping everyone safe.
At WCU, the number of fraternities passing the annual fire inspection improved from years past. In 2016, only 5 out of the 23 fraternities passed in the first try, but this fall it improved to only 9. The Pullman Fire Marshal says the biggest reasons for failing the inspection is propped open fire doors, extension cord violations, unclean kitchen ventilations, and unchecked alarms and sprinkler systems. When we come back, one political party overwhelmingly won the majority of votes in this year's nationwide election.
And traveling to Cuba might just get a little more difficult for U.S. citizens.
No more pencils, no more books. No more teachers' dirty looks. School's out for summer. School's out forever. School's out with fever. School's out completely.
What this place needed was better graduation rates. So we worked with schools like Henry Ford High, and now they're up 18%. And it can happen in every place.
To help us do more good this year, go to unitedway.org, because great things happen when we live united.
A doctor in New York is charged with the death of 6 people. Dr. Eugene Gossi, who prescribed more pain pills than the entire state of New York, is indicted for the overdose of at least 6 patients. The doctor signed 6 death certificates in Buffalo, New York for bodies that failed to complete an autopsy and were only taking prescribed pills. 2 officers are recovering in Georgia after being shot early Wednesday morning. A brief manhunt started after Jacob Bailey shot 2 police officers. Jacob Bailey was the only suspect and was later found dead. Both officers were shot in Forest Park near a middle school. The school went into lockdown for precaution. The suspect was found dead behind a house near a shooting, but his death was never specified.
Democratic Party victory swept the nation as Election Day came to a close. Democrats picked up 16 Republican-held governor seats yesterday in states that included Georgia, Virginia, and New Jersey, currently governed by Chris Christie. The state of Virginia also now has its second African-American governor. Democrats won 50 of the 100 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives, and within 3 recounts expecting Democratic wins, that number could increase to 53, giving Democrats a majority. Democrats expected to win by wide margins due to the unpopularity of Republican President Donald Trump around the country. Danica Roem and Althea Garrison are the first transgender candidates to be elected into the U.S. legislature. Danica defeated Delegate Bob Marshall, who had been elected 13 times over 26 years in Virginia. Marshall had proposed a state bill that could refuse service to gay people and a bill to refuse transgender bathrooms.
The U.S. administration published a series of measures for dealing with Cuba and their residents. Now U.S. citizens will need to travel as part of an organized tour group. The series outlines specific companies, entities, shops, and hotels for engagement with American travelers. The policies come as partial rollback of President Barack Obama's policy with engagement with Cuba. Educational systems of Delhi, India will shut down until next year after air pollution hit hazardous levels. This decision came after doctors declared a public health emergency in the world's most populated city. Burning of crops doubled by farmers in neighborhood states, vehicle emissions, and burning of coal and garbage caused the polluted air. The Indian Medical Association has advised residents to stay indoors and avoid any physical activity. We have a 3-day weekend in observance of Veterans Day on Friday.
When we come back, Stella Sun will tell us what weather to expect for the federal holiday.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
With winter coming, the weather keeps getting cooler. Stella, will the temperatures continue to drop over the 3-day weekend?
Actually, Brittany, the temperatures will continue to rise over the next few days, but we will be seeing a few more rain showers. As you can see today, we had a lot of clouds with temperatures at about 40 degrees. We also had winds at about 16 miles per hour going eastbound. Now moving on to tomorrow's forecast, like I said, the temperatures will continue to rise. So in the mornings, we should be seeing weather at about 42 degrees, which means hopefully when you go out and start your car, you won't see any frost. The weather will continue to rise and it'll go up to about 46 degrees and then drop back down to 41 degrees. Now moving on to the state map of Washington, the west side had a lot more rain than we did, but the temperatures were warmer. As you can see in Seattle, that a high about 55 degrees. Olympia was at 47 and Vancouver down south was at 47 degrees. In Yakima, you can still see here that they did have a few more showers at temperatures about 46 degrees, and Wenatchee is at 38. And moving on to the eastern side of Washington, our neighbors up north in Spokane, they had very similar weather like we did here in Pullman at 40 degrees and cloudy weather. Moving on to the 5-day forecast, as you can see on on Friday, we have no school in observance of Veterans Day and a lot of rain. On Saturday, you will see some sunshine and clouds, and Monday and Tuesday, we'll see more clouds as well. Thank you, Brittany.
Coming up after the break, several community members are helping victims from the Texas shooting in extraordinary ways.
The measures people have taken to assist families of the victims is something you don't want to miss. Stay tuned.
Good one, son.
Last summer, my new dad took me on vacation. First, we went deep sea fishing.
Wow! I'm so proud of you, son.
And then we went on Thunder Shark.
That was awesome! Let's go again!
3 times. I gotta say, it was pretty cool.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
Oh, not again.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
The Southern Baptist Convention is offering to pay funeral expenses for all 26 victims of the church shooting in Texas on Sunday. Wilson County District Attorney said the Texas Crime Victims Compensation Fund's already approved, distributing $6,500 per victim to help the funeral costs. Pastor of the Southern Baptist is making sure everything is done lawfully and respectfully.
Thank you for watching. Join us every weeknight at 7 and 10 p.m. for Pullman's only nightly newscast.
Have a great night, and don't forget to follow us, Murrow News 8, on Facebook and Twitter.
Good night, Pullman.